Dunkin' Donuts coffee is superior to Starbucks.
Taste-wise.
That's the main factor.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be better if there were more around here.
I would personally love it if Dunkin' was there instead of Starbucks.
I'm glad it's not, because I'd be there every day.
What did I say?
Okay, time out from the video. So...
You mean story time?
Story time, thank you. Quick story time.
What's happening? What story is this? I don't remember.
Our first year in LA, you know, things are great. You know, we still don't really know how far places are. And, you know, because everything is like 5 miles away, or it takes 40 minutes to get
right.
to the
5
west
miles
side.
is like 25
Yes.
minutes or something.
So one night, me and Christine are in the grocery store elevator, you know, just leaving the parking area. And she's like, yeah, I've been riding around E for like 3 days. It's so great. A lot of
How did this go from Dunkin' to this story?
Wait. And I'm like, you need to get gas. You're like, it's fine. La, la, la.
I said, and I quote, I like living life on the edge.
Yes.
I remember saying
exactly.
that.
And I was like, oh,
like
okay.
a dumb idiot.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Flash to the next morning. I am at work at my internship. I get a frantic call. Christine has broke down. Car has stopped in the middle of Hollywood.
So not broke down. Ran out of gas.
Ran out of gas in the middle of Hollywood.
Hollywood Boulevard.
Because she wanted to go get Dunkin' that morning. And that's how we got here. She's like, can you get me? And I'm like, I literally am trapped at work. I have no ability to get you. Anyway, it was just
People
funny.
were honking.
I was like, that is...
I was like right in the middle of the street. Like I wasn't even pulled to the right. I was like in the middle of the street. At a light.
It's one of my favorite. It's just like, oh, okay. You're like, I like living life. She's like, I'm gonna get coffee. And Car said no.
My poor G. Yeah, I'll never forget. Now what do? I ride around on 1/4 of it. Bum bum da 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 bum bum da. Hey guys, what's up? My name's Christine.
I'm Mo.
And today we're doing our August wrap up. I almost said July wrap up. Haha. Funny. So you guys know the drill. Each month we do a NetGalley / book of the month vlog. The book of the month vlog is really just to, you know, get through these book of the month books that we have, because we're trying to make a conscious effort to read these books that we are getting in the mail. So that is what the book of the month vlog is. Last month I read 3 really amazing books. First and foremost, Ariadne, which is a retelling of the Minotaur, that like Greek mythology thing, but centers around the Minotaur's sister, Ariadne, who falls in love with a Greek hero. For my rating on this one, you guys are gonna have to click that link up in the cards so you can see that whole book of the month reading vlog. But the other 2 books that I did for this vlog, and these 2 books I loved. I was like, wow, book of the month, you really did something this month, even though these are all from different months, but it's fine. Okay, so this was a July 2021 pick. We Are the Brennans. This was Monique's 5-star read from the month prior. And y'all, this book did not disappoint. I'm so shocked that no one else is talking about this book, because it truly is so good.
Like the drama?
Yes, everything in it was good. The pacing, the drama, the characters, the plot, the twists. To see more on this, go ahead and look at that book of the month vlog. And then last but not least, I read The Inheritance of Orchidea Divina, and let me tell y'all, this was a sleeper agent. Okay, I thought it was gonna be good. I was like, yes, this will be an urban fantasy. It will be amazing. It's about witches, you know, a curse, XYZ, XYZ. It ended up being so good in the end. I was like, y'all didn't tell me there was a circus. Y'all didn't tell me that there was an ancient curse like that. Anyway, so there's just all this cool stuff, and there are sci-fi elements. And I'm like, y'all didn't tell me there were sci-fi elements in this book. Completely undersold, in my opinion. If you're a fantasy reader, especially if you like urban fantasy, you will like this book. I am telling you, you will like it. Like I said, if you guys are interested, check out that book of the month vlog. Those were all really great books. I had such a good book of the month like reading experience that last month, and I'm hoping that this month is the same.
I'm already starting one, and I'm
liking it.
Loving it.
Just kiss. Okay, good. You guys know, along with Book of the Month, we do NetGalley. To start things off, I read Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I ended up rating it something really amazing that you're gonna have to check out in the vlog, so go ahead and click that vlog link up there. But overall, the feeling was really great. This book does touch on a little bit more grief than House in the Cerulean Sea, because I feel like House on the Cerulean Sea is like a feel good at the end. Like it's sad, but like in a good way. Under the Whispering Door is sad, but in like a grief way, if that makes sense. Do with that what
more cathartic.
Yeah, like do with that what you will. The other book that I read for this vlog was Iron Widow. Basically a story about a young woman who gets drafted into this kind of mechanical piloting program. They call them pilot concubines. So anyway, you guys can see what I thought about that book in the vlog as well. The third book that I ended up reading for this vlog was The Tempered Seal of Antiquity Grey. It follows a young woman who finds a mechanical suit similar to Iron Widow in the desert. But these suits haven't been around for like years, like hundreds of years, right? And inside of the suit, she finds her great grandmother's bones. Okay, so then she has to go on a whole thing and be like, all right, what happened? Like, wait a minute. Everybody thought Granny ran away and we have had a bad name since then. So now she's in this whole adventure to like redeem her family name. And then the last book that I read was No Gods, No Monsters. And y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, your sneak peek for the NetGalley vlog is it was a 5-star rating, okay? That was my favorite book from the whole vlog. I had such a good time. It was a sleeper agent just like Orchidea and loved it. I love this book so much. I gush about it a lot in the vlog, so I'm gonna leave it for you guys to watch. But if any of the books you need to read, it's No Gods, No Monsters, and that's that.
Oh, and then I read a book too. What? I read First Love Take Two by Sajni Patel. It is a second chance romance that follows a doctor who is battling anxiety and, you know, is still kind of, you know, possibly in love with her ex. And they end up having to live together in some way or somehow. And it's just, you know,
A lot of fun.
how all that unfolds.
How was your feeling about it?
I mean, you guys know, look it up in the vlog. I really had a fun time.
The other thing that we both kind of did last month too was we read Ice Planet Barbarians. So we're in like an Ice Planet Barbarians loose read along with just like our close friends where we thought we could just, you know, chat about how ridiculous these books are. Plot twist, some of them are actually good.
The house is divided on that one.
The first book I ended up rating a 3.5. So I was like, oh, this is fun, but like, what's going on? And then the second one, it was a 5-star. That's a 5-star.
No, you did not rate the second one 5 stars.
I did. Rahush is my man. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, I give the first one a 3. I have yet to go to number 2. But, you know, 5 stars, that's a lofty score.
It is.
Lofty score, so I think I need to read it. But right now, yes, Ice Planet Barbarians was a wild time. I had a fun time reading it and roasting it in the chat, but 3 stars.
Yeah, and I definitely read it on audio, so that also might be like why I liked it so much, but it was real good. Like, y'all, I was like, I could not put down the second one. I was like, what is happening? My guy, they don't respect him. Like, God. Anyway, if y'all have read the second book, like, I need my Rahush fans, because they really treated him wrong. They were like, go out there and go feed all of us, but we hate you. No respect.
No respect. They're all on Kindle Unlimited if you have that service.
And Scribd if you want to hear them on audio. So yeah, I kicked off the month with some real fun books. All right, so the next feel-good book that I read last month was Tokyo Ever After. This is a coming-of-age story about a young woman who is half Japanese, half American, and she discovers that she's a princess. Kind of like the Princess Diaries, except she goes to Japan, and I really loved this book, y'all. This was so much fun. I ended up giving it a 4 stars. Just a fun time all around, like going into the setting of Japan, like seeing her like experience from like never being there. So it would basically be like if I had never been, you know, seeing it through her eyes. It was just so much freaking fun. And then the end, I was like, oh my God. Like I was squealing. This book is so good. So if you're looking for a good young adult, just kind of like feel good book that reminds you of the Princess Diaries, like if you like the Princess Diaries, you really do need to read this book, then this is the book for you. Next book that I had such a fun time with last month was The Vanishing Half. I know, y'all. I know. Should have read this by now. But I'm really glad that I read it last month anyway. If you have not read it, you need to read it. It's a 5-star, 100% all the way through. Pacing is good. Storytelling is amazing. The characters are so much fun. And we have a little trans rep in here with a cute little romance. And I'm just like, oh, I'm dying about it all. Basically, this follows two sisters who are both white passing. One of them ends up choosing a life that reminds her of home, that like brings her back home into this community because she's married a black man. And then the other sister ends up moving away at a young age, and they cannot find her for years and years and years until one day she shows up with her white husband and her white child. And everybody realizes she's been living life as a white woman, but no one knows where she's from. So the drama ensues. I really, really love this book because it is set in a small town, which is kind of a fun thing for me, I guess, because I'm from a small town too, so it just kind of like feels familiar. But then also part of it is set in LA as well. And it's just a fun story told through generations and about the meaning of race and kind of our perceptions of race, identity, family, all these just amazing, important themes. Like, honestly, I wish I had read this for a book club so we could all discuss it, but it was a fun time. Highly, highly recommend. If you haven't read The Vanishing Half yet, definitely do. And then another 5-star read for me from last month is Ace, which the official title is What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex by Miss Angela Chen. I started this not in August. I think I started this in July. But this book, I've been talking about it a little bit. It's so heavy that you really just want to go super, super slow and take notes and tab and like do all this stuff. Like, you guys can see, I did a lot of work with this book. I really enjoyed this book, and I honestly think that every single person, even if you don't identify as asexual, should read this book because you can learn a lot from it and kind of the other experiences of people just like in the world. And also, you never know, you could identify more with this than you think you do. So I definitely recommend this just for the learning aspect, but also just so you can understand more about asexuality. Because I thought I knew what it was, but you really don't know until you read a book, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all I can really say. This book was so good. The reason why I think I also love this so much is because the information is presented to you in such an easy way to consume that it's like you can easily understand the points that Angela is trying to make. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when you read texts about subjects that you don't really know a lot about, it can be a lot to kind of take in all that information. And this is definitely a lot, but it's not hard. You just have to kind of take your time. So that's my recommendation with that. I really, really like this. And I actually got this recommendation from Darian Reads. So thank you, Darian, for being amazing and recommending an amazing 5-star read.
Well, I'll follow off with Ace. I also read Ace of Spades, and it was a great time. I had a fun time reading that. Everyone was right. It's like Gossip Girl meets Get Out, and that is the perfect description. It follows two students whose like rumors and secrets start getting revealed to the school, and they're just trying to figure out what's happening, like who's trying to take them both down. And it deals with race, sexuality, all kinds of things, like stuff you would have to go through in high school, and then everything else. So I recommend it. It was really fun. I gave it a 4 stars just because I feel like the ending could have been a little more pop, you know? But,
yeah.
And yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I realized last month that I forgot to wrap that because I read it last month, but I forgot to even mention it in the wrap up. I don't know why, but I read it on audio, and I will say if you get a chance to read it on audio, it is very, very good. And the author's note at the end of the audio is just like, it made me cry. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So that's my one. That was my one comment about Ace of Spades.
Yeah, I also read on audio. It was a great time.
Yeah. The next book that I read, this one also took me a little while to get through, was Iron Gold, Mr. Pierce Brown. What a book. What a book. Okay, so I ended up rating this book 4 stars, and that's just because I felt like this was a prequel to the second part of this whole series. So in the first 3 books, we all know it kind of like wrapped up, and then this book is set 10 years later. So we go through a lot of like introducing a couple of new characters, kind of reintroducing these other characters and like what they've been doing the whole time, kind of setting up for the rest of the series. I know that Dark Age, the next book after this, is going to rip me to shreds. I almost feel like I know what's gonna happen, and I don't really want to read it. That's where I'm at right now. Like, when I read Dark Age, it will be next year. I cannot read it anytime during the holidays or anything because I don't want to be sad. Like, I don't want my guy to suffer, and no, I am not talking about Doo-Doo Darrow. So one of my favorite parts about this book is just kind of seeing how the characters have developed over the 10-year span. Obviously, I don't want to give away who else is in this book and who else survived from the first 3. So it's really interesting because we just had this conversation about YA and adult books and how YA books, you know for a fact what the YA character will do. If they're a good guy, they will do good guy stuff. If they're a bad guy, they will do bad guy stuff, right? And then you have like morally gray characters. But like in an adult book, you've got adults making decisions, and sometimes they make a decision that's like good, and sometimes they make a decision that's bad, and it's all about them dealing with their decisions. And I'm like, this is definitely the epitome of that statement. Like, this is an adult novel AF. Anyway, this was a lot to get through. It's a 4-star for me. I'm hoping Dark Age is really, really good, but I also don't want to cry anytime soon, so I'm not going to read it until
March.
Yeah, I was like, give me 6 months and then I'll be ready. Anyway, so that is Iron Gold by Mr. Pierce Brown, but I did have a good time. I liked seeing the characters.
That's great.
The next book that I ended up reading last month that I annotated the heck out of, We Hunt the Flame. I ended up rating this a 3.5 stars. And I'll tell you guys, you know, I probably would have rated it lower if I had not annotated. Annotating it really put me in the mood of taking in the information, taking my time, and really understanding the story. If I was just reading this without that, I would have went right through it and it probably would have been a 2-star. This story has a really great premise. We have Zafira and Nasir, both of whom are trying to basically bring magic back into the lands. There's like a little enemy back and forth, and you know, action and chaos ensues. The story is very, very slow. The pacing is very, very slow. It in fact is the reason why a lot of people DNF this book at first, because we're like, okay, we get it, this rich setting, amazing. But even when you get the setting isn't even that descriptive, if that makes sense. So it's almost like you're in limbo for a good portion of this book, right? And you're kind of like, what's happening with the characters? Like, you know, what's going on? So anyway, that's what I'm saying about that. It's a 3.5 stars with annotations, but without, it probably would have been like a 2.5. But I'm really excited because We Free the Stars is the next book in this duology, and I've heard that that one is way, way, way better. So I'm hoping that that one will have a really good rating. Check back with us at the end of the month and we'll see how that goes.
So to close out my reading for August, I read Ring Shout, and y'all were right. Y'all were right. When I saw the premise of Ring Shout online, I was like, immediately buy.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that so long ago.
Yeah, it was like literally probably January. I bought that book and I was like, oh, I can't wait to read it. I had it like already placed on like a mantle in my room. Yeah. I knew this book was going to be good. I just hadn't taken the time to read it yet. So I finally read it, and I'm telling y'all, it is 5 stars. Everyone is right. It is a short book. It's like maybe 180 pages, maybe 200.
Yeah, it's a thin one.
It's very thin, and it's like, it really just sit and you can go through it. It's pretty quick. It follows the main heroine and her friends and family, and they pretty much are fighting Ku Kluxes. And it's like a time where the Ku Klux Klan is just everywhere. It's like bigger than ever, and they gained a lot of power from the Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, it was like the Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, so it's like pretty much the Birth of the Nation kind of draws them in, you know, the Ku Kluxes. And it's definitely a different take on the Klan. It's more like magical realism, sci-fi. I wouldn't even say sci-fi, more magical realism, and just how the author created that world. It's just amazing. I truly recommend it. No words. Like, you just have to experience for yourself. I do want to note though, to check your trigger warnings, just in case you guys are really into like not into a lot of graphic descriptions. I wouldn't say it was uber violent, but just to be safe, I would definitely check and see if, you know, before you dive in and you're expecting it to be like Legendborn or something. It's not like that. Okay,
it's an adult
book about fighting Ku Klux Klan.
I guess it's a novella, right?
It's a novella, yes. Yeah. So definitely check any triggers. I'm sure they're online somewhere.
And then the last couple of books for me. So there was a group read for the Enneagramathon. That one is called Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson. I ended up giving this book a 3-star rating just because the main character was so unlikable to me. And she turned it around at the end, which is why she got a 3-star, and it was no lower than that. The main character was she just bugged me. I was like, I cannot even care enough about it, and I almost DNF'd this book because she just was so annoying. But also, this was the kind of a YA book where the characters read really young and their decisions are like
juvenile.
Yeah, right. They're very juvenile and like very selfish, and you know, I'm finding there's some YA that I can read, but those kind of YA I don't really enjoy. So I was like, this is a 3. It did touch on some interesting social like commentary, which I thought was cool, but there was a lot of that in the book, and I kind of was like, are the agendas what we're pushing, or are we doing a plot story about like a teenage coming of age? Like, I don't know where we're going. So that's my only like kind of thing about that, but it was fun because it was set in New York. It was like the summer. After she kind of got over herself, she was a much better character, but also I didn't really see a connection between her and her main love interest. I was kind of like, okay, like what? Am I supposed to root for this? Because I really wasn't interested. So anyway, 3-star for me. It is what it is. And then the other group book that I actually read for Monique's team for the Enneagramathon, I've been wanting to read The Shadow Between Us for so long. It's like a standalone YA fantasy about a young woman who gets close to this dark shadow king and wants to kill him so that she can take his kingdom. It's by Trisha Levenseller, and I have read like The Daughter of the Pirate King, so I kind of already knew the vibe of the writing when I went in, and I knew that this was going to be a guilty pleasure read. All that being said, I ended up rating it at 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it, had a good time, like thought it was funny, but you have to realize that this book is what it is, so like don't expect it to be an amazing YA fantasy, because honestly there wasn't even really that much fantasy aspects in it. It's more of a romance with like a little bit of a fantasy, like sprinkle a little bit of magic in there. But you know, if you go in with that kind of mindset, then I think you'll enjoy it a lot more, and that's kind of where I was at. I was like, this is fun. And then it was interesting to kind of read a YA fantasy standalone, because I haven't read a standalone like that in a while, so that was fun because they all just kind of wrapped up and we weren't leading into a next book in a series, you know what I mean? So that was fun. 3.5 stars. And then last but not least, guys, we're gonna end on a low note, unfortunately. I didn't mean to do this, but I just did not want to talk about this book. The lowest rating from last month, and Noelle, please don't be angry with me. Foundry Side. I ended up rating this at 2 stars. Ha! Okay, this book gave me so much just like bane of my existence. I really just did not want to finish this book, but I have it on good authority from other fantasy / sci-fi readers that the next book is so good, and I'm like, all right, I can get through the first book, but the second book better be good, because if y'all are lying to me, I'm gonna be really upset. All right, so my main issues with this book, I really like the magic system, thought it was genius. It mixes science and fantasy together in a really creative way. Loved it. My like about it, the dialogue was off. I was like, why are we talking like this? I'm confused. We're supposed to be in like a technologically advanced society, but we're still talking like we're dumb. And so the whole time I was reading this, I was like, oh, this is a YA. This is clearly a YA because everyone's acting like they're goody two-shoes. They're either like goody two-shoes or super bad. Suddenly we get these epic graphic scenes, people being blown up into tiny little pieces, really descriptive scenes like that. And I'm just like, is this an adult book? You know, I did find a couple of the plot points a little guessable. I was kind of like, okay. And maybe it's because I'm annotating it. I don't know. And I just paid more attention. I'm not sure. But all that being said, the thing that probably I hated the most is that there was a romance introduced out of these 500 pages, like page 344. So like almost 150 pages left. There's a romance that we're supposed to apparently have picked up on, but these two characters, there was none of that. You know what I mean? It was like the most random thing that could ever happen. And I was like, okay, are you trying to just make our main character seem sexy or like desirable or what? Like I had a major issue with this, because when she starts off the book, she doesn't want to be involved with anybody. Like she literally says that. And then page 344, this one lady's like, yeah, I see you looking at me. And the girl's like, oh, she is kind of hot. And I'm like, what's happening? So I don't know. That did not sit well with me. I was like, that takes away from the whole story anyway, because she also had this kind of like flirty thing with the magical object. Anyway, I don't even want to go into it, but it was just a hot ass mess. So it's a 2 star for me. I'm hoping that the next one is good and that he gets his stuff together. Sorry, y'all. I know I'm ranting. But like, I don't know, like what happened. I
don't think you can say much more about this book.
Y'all, sorry. I was just like seeing red.
Yeah, I had to take it out of your hands. Every time you flip, you found something extra to talk about. All right, well, I took it away. Take it away.
I'm sorry if you guys like that book. It just didn't sit well with me, okay? Y'all know I don't like it when the plot doesn't make sense. And I'm like, that did not make sense. None of that made sense.
That wrapped up our August reading. Let us know if you like Foundry Side. I'm sure that there is a large fan base.
What was we'll start off we'll end up on a good note. What was your favorite book from last month?
My favorite book from last month was Ring Shao. But First Love Take Two was a great time as well. I like them both evenly for different reasons. Mm-hmm. One was like, dang, like social commentary. Yes, that's how
wokeness.
Like, dang, and it was like so creative. Okay, you're right. I'm gonna say Ring Shao. Final answer.
But the romance is always gonna have, you're always gonna have a place in your heart for romance.
Yeah, like it's not a surprise that I gave romance 5 stars.
Right.
I am easily swayed.
Okay.
But Ring Shout was just so creatively done, well done. Never read anything like it. Ring Shout wins the top prize.
Nice. My 2 favorites as far as storytelling are 2 book of the month picks. We Are the Brennans and The Inheritance of Orchidea Divina.
Not
Those
No Gods, No Monsters.
Books were so no, it is. It's No Gods, No Monsters.
Oh.
Yeah. That one, yes. Actually, No Gods, No Monsters was really good too.
Yeah, you've been talking about that only. I haven't really heard you talk about.
Well, I guess because I read Orchidea most recently. That one's like the most recent one in my brain. So I think that was like the last book I read last month. We Are the Brennans for sure, y'all. That book had me, I had to get up and leave the room. I was like, I can't. I
I was like, you gotta finish it.
This is stressful. I have 100 pages. This is stressful. But yeah, and then the second spot I guess has to be between No Gods, No Monsters and Miss Divina. They're both fantasy, so honestly, I had a good time with all those books. But anyway.
Yeah. So I know you had a good reading month.
Yeah, definitely recommend. So guys, that's it. That's our wrap up. Let us know what your favorite book was last month. Leave a comment down below and let us know because, you know, we're always looking for recs.
So again, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you want to support us, you know, hit the subscribe, and the notification bell lets you know when we're dropping stuff. And it happens often.
It does. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!